What's up guys, Luke here. I took some footage from the drive home the other day, so I figured I'd use that for the background of this video. But I just kind of wanted to make a little bit of a life update because I've officially been in Japan now. I've been living in Japan now for a little over 2 months. I got here on June 14th, and I put a little picture of the stamp that the immigration officer gave me so you guys can see. Yeah, so let's just get started. So, I mean, yeah, it's been my dream to come and live in Japan since I was like 13 or 14, so this is a pretty big thing for me. And, you know, it took a lot of work to get here, it took a lot of work to get the visa, and I've been wanting to go to Japan. Well, like I said, I've wanted to live in Japan for a long time, so yeah, a lot of effort went into this. Yeah, I got here on June 14th, and we stayed at Smile Hotel in Wakayama for about a week. And in our situation, we didn't really have a lot of kind of time to get things done. We had a lot to get done basically because for starters, my wife's parents weren't really kind of willing to help us in a lot of ways. I mean, not so much that they weren't willing to help us, but they weren't financially able to help us, we'll put it like that. But so we had to basically do everything on our own, and we didn't have very much money, and you know, so we just needed to kind of get the ball rolling, get as much stuff done, you know, in the smallest, you know, period of time as possible, right? So in the week that we stayed at Smile Hotel, within the first like day or two, we had actually, before we'd even come to Japan, I should mention this actually, so the reason why I'm even able to be in Japan now, the reason why I got here, is because, well, I'm on a what's called Tankikan visa, which is a short-term visa. And it's a special circumstance visa because normally no one can really get this visa now, and you know, unless you have special circumstance or whatever. But I was able to get it because I wasn't able to apply for the spouse visa outside of. You're not actually able to apply for the spouse visa outside of Japan unless either you or your spouse is in Japan. You cannot apply for the spouse visa. So we're married technically in both America and Japan, and so normally I should be able to get the spouse visa, but like I said, I wasn't able to even start the application because neither of us were even in Japan, because my wife and I were both living in America before we'd come here. And so yeah, so we talked to the embassy in Miami because I lived in Florida before, and they gave us this special circumstance visa so I could come to Japan and then start the application and, you know, switch my status to spouse visa. And so yeah, but obviously with the visitor visa or whatever, or the Tankikan visa, it's, you know, it's a short-term visa, so you can't work, and you know, you can only stay like 90 days. So basically I had to basically get the ball rolling with the visa application as soon as possible. So before we'd even gotten to Japan, my wife and I had hired they call it gyosei shoshi, which is basically like a visa attorney or whatever, and we found basically the highest rated one in all of Osaka. It was pretty expensive, but we hired them, and within the first like day or two that we got to Japan, we did a few, you know, Zoom kind of video conference calls or whatever, and, you know, talk some things out. They explained the details and stuff like that, but that was just kind of to get the ball rolling type of thing, because we needed to be quick because we didn't have much time. And then after that, we also needed to find a place to live, so we searched around multiple different fudosan in Japan, which is basically like real estate agencies or whatever, which are different than like back in the States. But we ended up going to Appaman Shop, which is like probably one of the most popular ones, and we found about 4 houses that we were interested in the area that, you know, we were interested in, because, you know, you can look up all these things like what area do you want to be, you know, what train station do you want to be next to, you know. And also my wife has a cat. She had one cat. We had one cat before, and so, you know, we still have that cat, but so we had to find a place that was okay with pets. And we found the place, and everything was going well. Actually, we out of the 4 houses that we were looking at, it actually was the cheapest one It was the one where the rent was actually the cheapest, that we actually found to be the nicest. So we moved there. I'm gonna make a whole different video on our house and stuff like that. Maybe I'll even do one of those like kind of cliche Japanese apartment tours or whatever, but that's for another video. But anyways, we basically done all the paperwork, we done the background check and stuff like that, and we were set to move in. And then if you guys have saw my first video that I posted being in Japan, basically my wife was feeling pretty sick one day, and unfortunately at the time I didn't really think much of it. So when she was like, you know, because it's kind of like typical for Japanese people to just go to the hospital for anything, you know, like things like, as an American, right, we don't go to the hospital unless like we're like dying, right, we've like broken a bone. But Japanese people go to the hospital for like anything, right? So, and I mean, in my mind I didn't really think too much of it. In hindsight I really regret it, but went to the hospital, and of course if you have like any symptoms at all, you know, even if that's just like a mild fever or whatever, they basically force you to do a COVID test. So they shoved that COVID test right up her nose. Unfortunately I didn't have to do the COVID test at the time because I had no symptoms. Yeah, unfortunately she tested positive for COVID, and because of the circumstances at the time, our only option was basically like to quarantine in a Japanese hospital. Yeah, they basically kicked us out of the hotel that we had paid for because we had to go and quarantine, and they wouldn't let us quarantine in the hotel that we'd already, you know, we were in. So that was really unfortunate. We had to stay in the Japanese hospital for 10 days, and we were locked in. It felt like prison. So you can see, if you watch the first video that I posted, you know, being in Japan, you can see it was pretty negative, as you can expect. But yeah, 10 days went by. And then it basically, as soon as we got out of the hospital, we basically moved into our house immediately after. And so, you know, things were going well after that. And my wife, Yuzu, she was looking for employment and stuff. She does like beauty and cosmetology. She went to Senmon Gakko, and she got her Biyoshi Menkyo. So her like beauty license or whatever, so she can do all that type of work in Japan. And she was you know, searching for employment, and she found a pretty good company and stuff, and she's working there full time now. She got the job offer and everything, and so she's doing basically training right now because it's about a month's period that you have to do training for her company. And it's all in Osaka, so she has to take, it's like an hour and a half train ride one way just to get to Osaka and stuff. And she's got to continue doing that for another like 2 weeks or so, and then after that she's going to come back and work closer to where we live here in Wakayama, right? And yeah, so that actually worked out pretty well. And so as for me, I actually managed to get my first ever job in Japan without even having a proper work visa yet, with no visa, doing probably something that no other foreigner really does for their first ever job in Japan, which is AC work. I got my first ever job in Japan without any degree, without any visa or whatever, doing AC work. And it was basically through connections. It was through my in-laws' neighbors, basically. So my wife's mom's neighbor, whatever. One day we were walking my wife's mother's dog around, you know, the neighborhood, and yeah, one of the neighbors, they stopped us and they started talking to us, and it turned out that the guy, I guess my in-law, or my wife's mom or whatever, had told this guy that I had done like AC work back in America, because I did do AC work when I was back in Florida. And apparently he ran like a two-man little company, and they did like AC. They installed ACs and stuff. And so after a little bit of like kind of small chat and stuff, he was like, you know, of course all in Japanese, and he was like, why don't you come work for me part-time and stuff? And so I was like, yeah, sure, obviously, I'm going to take up that opportunity, So I was pretty excited for that, and it was a great experience. I still come in and help every once in a while, but not as much now, because I'll explain it in a second. But anyways, yeah, it's a great experience because, it was me and this one other Japanese guy who's much older than me. He's like, he could be my dad. He's actually older than my dad. But yeah, so it's me, and then I have my work partner. And basically we go all around Kansai, Japan, and we install, you guys probably won't know what this is, but they're called, in Japan, all the air conditioners that you see, they're called 2-split air conditioners, which are, they're actually pretty easy to install. But you can make a lot of money and stuff installing them in Japan, especially in the summer when it gets really hot. So yeah, we went all over Kansai and stuff. We'd go into customers' houses, like actual individual houses and stuff, and installing. And yeah, I had a lot of really good experiences doing that. And it was cool. I got to learn like a lot of stuff, and it was all in Japanese and stuff like that. So it was, it was definitely pretty difficult, but also, just a really good experience in general. And then also I will make a whole another video about this, but I actually just recently kind of managed to get my first ever English teaching job in Japan, believe it or not, with, again, no visa, no qualifications. I don't have a bachelor's degree. I have no English teaching qualifications, no certifications or anything, but I managed to get this job at this small eikaiwa near where I live, basically completely based off of my Japanese ability. One day I'm in this Facebook group it's like an international group in like Wakayama, Japan, in Facebook or whatever. And so there's other foreigners and stuff living in Wakayama, Japan, because this is a very rural place in Japan, so there's not very many foreigners. And one day this English teacher guy on there, he like reached out to me, and he's like, because I made a little post asking, trying to make friends or whatever. And I told him, I wanted to teach English too. And then he was like, why don't you try this place? They might, I heard that they were looking for teachers and stuff like that. So one day I was just like, you know what, screw it. And I gave him a phone call, again, all in Japanese. And yeah, they were pretty impressed just on the phone itself. And then I was asking, like, could I come in for an interview? And then they were like, yeah, could you come in today? They're like, can you come after 2? And I was like, oh wow, it was like 10 o'clock at 10 o'clock in the morning. So, but I was like, yeah, of course, I'm gonna, no way I'm gonna let this opportunity go by, right? So I went in, and it's a small little eikaiwa. It's nothing like that big or anything, but it's like this old man and this older woman, and they're really nice. And the older guy, he spoke English to me. He's really good at English. And then after that, we just spoke all in Japanese, and they were really impressed. They were like, we had one other American teacher, he's like in his 50s or whatever, and he's been living in Japan for like over 9 years, I think. But he said, they were like, yeah, your Japanese is like way better than his and stuff. And they were saying, it would be really good because like a lot of the other teachers didn't really speak Japanese that well too, and so therefore like it was kind of difficult for them to communicate with like the owners and stuff of this eikaiwa. So they were like, yeah. And they asked me like if I had experience and stuff like that, and I was just honest. I told them like I don't have experience, but I'm really trying to like get into teaching English and stuff. And they hired me on the spot basically, and they told me to come in like next week and stuff. And yeah, so that's actually a pretty recent thing, and I've been enjoying it quite a lot. The pay's definitely a lot better than the air conditioning gig that I'm still somewhat doing on the side. And I enjoy it like way more. It's not as physically straining, and in my case it's like mostly kids and stuff, like little kids and stuff, which is nice because they're cute and it's fun. It is kind of difficult with little kids though, because they get distracted easily and stuff like that, and some of them aren't really interested in English, so there is that. But yeah, that's like a very recent thing. So since coming to Japan with no visa and no qualification stuff, just based off my Japanese alone, I've managed to basically get 2 jobs already, so I've been doing pretty good on that, I would say. But I'm still waiting to actually start applying for like full-time positions, because these are just part-time positions, here and there, right? Arubaito, right? So I want to get a full-time, like an actual contract, job, but I'm waiting until my visa application is accepted, and then I have my proper work visa and stuff, so that I can do that. I don't want to, start applying for stuff like that and then just get denied because I'm not technically really supposed to be working right now. So, which on that note, actually just also somewhat recently, July 28th, actually, this is after loads of paperwork and documents and stuff, and going back and forth with our attorneys, with our visa attorneys, right, the Gyosei Shoshi, and it was a lot of work. We had to do a lot of stuff, and they just now, basically, just within the past couple of weeks, submitted my visa application on my behalf to switch my status. And so yeah, hopefully, and it's been about a few weeks since they did that, so I should be getting the results either this week or next week. So yeah, that's exciting. It'll be nice, and then I can finally work full time, and hopefully I can, and then there's no problems and stuff like that. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Also, the day before they submitted my application, so July 27th, actually, me and my wife, we decided to get another cat. My cat, basically, kind of, because my wife Yuzu, she has her own cat, and so we got a little kitty named Nagi-chan, and so yeah, a new addition to the family. If I have any pictures, I'll put them up on the screen now. But yeah, she's adorable, So it's really nice having two, and then they have company and stuff when we're not home and stuff. So, but I don't really have much footage, like background footage and stuff like that. So I don't want to make this video too long, because then I'll run out of like footage, like for the screen and stuff. So I'm probably gonna cut it off here. But a lot has happened, as you can see just from listening to me, in 2 months. Just in 2 months of me being here, right? Both my wife and I have both found jobs, both found employments. We got our own place in Japan. There's a lot of other things that have happened. I've been to like loads of places and stuff like that, but I just kind of wanted to make this little update video and to kind of talk about where I am. So the next big step for me is waiting on the results from my visa application, and then getting my visa, and then I'm gonna make a whole nother video talking about that too. But once that happens, like I'm gonna be able to fast track a lot of things, and just get a lot of things done, and probably hopefully start working full time and stuff. So that'll be nice too. But that's kind of where I am at now, from the months from June all the way to now in August. So yeah, I just wanted to make this little life update video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and definitely like, subscribe. If you have any feedback or anything you want me to do and stuff like that, any videos you want to see, leave it in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Peace.